I am Kris Bakke with Nasco Education, and really pleased to be here today with a super special interview. Mr. Rogers' mom told him that when bad things happen, to look for the helpers. And her point was to take his mind off of bad things that were happening in the world and focus on the good. When the pandemic happened and we were all sent home to work from home, there was a social media post about art class curators unconference, a call to art. And it had art teachers involved, and I saw Cindy Ingram's face, and I knew of Art Class Curator, but I didn't know a lot about it. So I did a little investigating, and it was one of those connections where I just thought there's a fit here. There's a partnership here. And so I always joke that I began to stalk Cindy. Not completely true. We just had exchanges of emails going back and forth at a crazy time, and it turned into something really beautiful. And so today I am pleased to introduce Cindy Ingram. She is the creator and founder of Art Class Curator. And we're just going to have a little conversation and a little interview so that hopefully all of you can get to know her better and hear a little more about what we're doing. Welcome, Cindy.
Hi, Kris. So happy to be here.
Thank you so much. It has just been delightful getting to know you, and I just want everybody to get the same feel that I have, and I know that they will. Let's just start from the beginning. Tell us, what is Art Class Curator?
Well, Art Class Curator is a website dedicated to helping teachers and students connect with works of art in authentic and powerful, meaningful ways. When I was teaching, I'm a former museum educator, and I really enjoyed a lot of time in front of the arts, leading groups of kids to the museum. It was always really exciting. And then when I transitioned to teach in the classroom, I found that was harder in the classroom, and that there wasn't resources out there for teachers to do that type of teaching in the classroom. So I started to create my own lessons, create my own activities, as teachers do, and eventually decided that I would just create the website that I had been looking for. Every time I Googled for something and it came up empty, I decided I'm just going to start putting this stuff on the internet, because I believe that this is really important, that students have exposure to works of art. So I started with a blog back in 2014. And then I eventually added a membership site where I took all of those art history lessons and art appreciation lessons that I developed when I was teaching up into a membership. And then it's only just grown and blossomed from there over the last 6 years. It's been very exciting.
That is like the American dream. I mean, where somebody takes their passion and turns it into something. And what I find really beautiful about your story is you are an art teacher, and so you have that similar passion, because people who work with art teachers and know art teachers understand that passion. While everybody is a unique teacher and has things that are important to them and valuable to how they teach and their style, there's this servant heart that goes with it. And it's clear that your passion has that servanthood to it. And I think that's a really cool thing. How long, when did it start? How long have you been doing this?
My first blog post was April 1st, 2014. So
that's so great that it was April Fool's Day.
I know.
Are you an artist?
I am a creator. I used to be an artist when I was younger. And
art teachers would scold you for that, though, of course.
I know. I know they would.
Always an artist.
I am. It's true. So I do view like a lot of the work that I do as art in the creation of the things I create. But it really was when I discovered art history. I was in high school and I just was totally captivated, totally blown away. I realized that my love of art and making art really was this sort of desire to connect and I didn't know, I can articulate it now, 30 years later, however many years later it is, but it wasn't until I got to see art and I got to be around it that I realized like what art is for me. And art is for me connection and exploration of the human spirit in the world. And I can do that through looking at art. So really, it's the looking at art thing that I just am in love with.
As corny as it sounds, like, I swear to you, I got a little bit of a chill when you talked about connection and human spirit, and probably because it means more to us now more than ever. And what I think is interesting is when you said that about the need, because I think that you're right. When you start looking for curriculum, math curriculum and science curriculum, and even some STEM and STEAM curriculum, NASCO has fabulous curriculum available in those areas. When you go start looking for it in art education, particularly as it applies to art history and what you are doing at Art Class Curator, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that, it's not out there. And not all art educators are comfortable in that area. That's not always their strength. There's some that I can think of, and just to name drop a couple of them, like Don Massey and Devin Calvert, Cassie Stevens. There's a few out there that take artists that are contemporary and do fabulous things in the classroom. And I think all of them have worked with Art Class Curator at one time or another. And so to be able to offer that is really an amazing opportunity for art educators and school districts out there. Back to the artist thing though, if you picked a medium, what is your favorite?
Painting.
Watercolor, acrylic, oil?
Usually acrylic because it's just really easy for me. It's like it's easy cleanup, easy put together. It's like how I cook. I cook in or how I mainly live my life is I'm very kind of scattered and spontaneous, and I don't like to follow rules or directions. So with painting, I can just do whatever I want, and I can change mid-course, and I can throw in, some extra garlic here. It's to me, there's a lot of freedom in that media. So I really appreciate that.
You are unique, Cindy, in the sense that you are sort of like a total package. Lots of people are either very more creative and a little bit sort of loosey-goosey, and a lot of people are way more logical. I do feel like art educators are whole brain thinkers because they do have to be organized. They do have to be, follow a process and that kind of stuff. But there is this creativity and this freedom in art that allows rules to be broken and envelopes to be pushed. So I think that's fantastic. I would like to be a little bit more on this side where you follow the process. That would be probably good for me. How did you develop, when did you really develop your love for art in art museums? Was it way early, like in your childhood, or did it come with going to school to be an art educator?
Yeah, it came earlier than that. I always loved, art was my favorite subject always. We didn't really have art teachers back then. We didn't have an elementary art teacher. But I loved making art. I loved art class once I got into middle school. But my first really true art experience was actually watching Disney movies, specifically The Lion King. I saw The Lion King 12 times at the theater when I was in the 8th grade. It was at the Dollar Movie. It was just right around the corner from my house. And I look back at the time, I'm like, well, I was having an aesthetic experience. I was connecting with art at that time, and I didn't really realize it. I wanted to be a Disney animator. And then it wasn't until I went in high school, my high school junior year English teacher every year took a group of kids to Europe. And then he taught a humanities class in the senior year, which was kind of like an AP Art History type of class. And when I went on that trip, I decided I had to go on that trip. You know, when I make a decision, I do it no matter what. Like nobody. And I didn't give my mom a choice. I was like, I paid for it. I stacked groceries, you know. And when I got there and I saw all the art in person for the first time, because I grew up in Amarillo, Texas. We didn't have any museums within like 6 hours. Well, there actually was an art museum there. I didn't know that it existed until after I left and came back. And it was that Europe trip that made me realize what was out there. And I saw all the people working in the museums, and I was like, I want to be them. I want to come into this place every day and see this every day.
What art museum did you work at first?
The Austin Museum of Art when I was in college. I went to UT Austin, and I worked in the gift shop. And then I was an education intern there too. And then after college, I worked.
I was just going to say, I love a good museum gift shop. Are you just not compelled? You know, I mean, you will spend anything in a gift shop in an art museum. You know,
they took it out of our paychecks. They took it out of our paychecks. So we could just buy things and it would just come out of our paycheck. And I was like a college student. So I didn't make very wise decisions. I ended up with a lot of things.
But everybody got great presents.
Indeed. Yeah.
What have you seen from like a student perspective as it applies to, well, let's talk as it applies to being at an art museum and relating to the art.
Okay. Yeah. So there was my one particular museum job. I was just a gallery teacher as well as in grad school. And I would spend like 18 hours a week, and I would basically do all of the tours that came in. And, you know, I would do 3 or 4 different tours in a day, mostly elementary, but all grades. And it was so exciting and invigorating because most of the time, this is the first time these kids have ever experienced anything like this. And so I was getting to be the one that exposed them the first time. I was getting to be the one that was really delighted by them. And I got to be, just have these amazing conversations with them, and then they would leave and I would never see them again. So I never had to do any discipline. I never had to do any classroom management. I just had an amazing hour with a group of kids and then they left. That's why I always thought I never would want to be a teacher, because I was like, I don't want to handle all the other stuff.
Yes.
That proved not true later. When I got in the classroom, I loved every second of it. But it was just really fun to see the art through their eyes. And even if I was looking at the same artwork 20 times a week or however long with different kids, they were always seeing something new that I hadn't seen before, or that no one had ever mentioned before. Yeah. And so it really helped me realize the vastness of what one work of art can offer a person. You know, it changes.
How did that transfer to like an online digital curriculum? Like, can you share any student experiences? Like, do you get that kind of feedback from the art class curator curriculum on how it transfers sort of digitally and into the classroom and certainly now virtually?
Yeah, we have been offering our membership at Art Class Curator for the last 4 years, and we teach in the membership how to look at art with kids, how to talk about it, engaging activities to lead with it. So we offer a lot of training because this is something that a lot of teachers aren't very confident with. So we teach them kind of how to do it. The idea is behind it, like it's not about what the artist said, it's about what the student interpret. So there's a lot of sort of teaching that goes in training that goes along there. And then and there's a lot of fear in teachers that the kids are going to be bored, that the art's not going to be interesting, they're going to complain that they're not drawing. And we hear time and time again from our members, and that they're so pleasantly surprised at how the kids just love it. The kids just eat it up. They love every second of it. They have tons of ideas. And so it's just a matter of, I think it's not even a matter of the training. It's a matter of building the confidence and and the willingness to just try something new and just see what happens, and to not have a script and to not have anything that you want to get out of it at the end, that you just want to see how the kids respond. If you can get past those sort of initial barriers, you realize how exciting that can be, and how memorable the learning experiences are. I mean, I've had kids, when I was teaching, we covered an artwork at the beginning of the year. It was two Fridas by Frida Kahlo. We covered at the very beginning, I think it was like the first week. And then we went to a museum in March or something, and the kids were so excited that two Fridas happened to be there at that museum that year. And they were just flipping out, excited. They were in the gift shop buying all the two Fridas stuff. And I'm like, they've remembered that whole year. That few days where we covered that painting was so memorable to them. And now I'm sure years later that holds a special place in their heart. And I think that the more of art we can give to our students, that just they're going to carry it with them the rest of their lives,
I think that is a testament to advocating for art education as well. Lots of times there's this terrible myth that, it's just making art and pretty pictures and things like that. And there's so much more to the making of the art, but also to the actual education as well. Which is a great segue into, I contacted you and I said, this is who we are at Nasco, and we are looking to, equip teachers to help engage students so that they're prepared for, college to career and beyond. And we are dealing with digital curriculum and hands-on. And the hands-on is still important, but clearly the need for digital curriculum and curriculum is extremely valuable now more than ever. And so we began to talk and we began to partner, and Art Class Curator has agreed and partnered with us to create some exclusive curriculum for Nasco. There's two different programs. The elementary is called World Mosaics, and the high school is Perspectives. So tell us a little bit about the World Mosaic.
Okay, so this is very, very exciting for us to be in this partnership. So I just want to thank you, first of all, for reaching out to me at the back in April or May. And it was, creating a full curriculum is always something I wanted to do. And it was just a beautiful catalyst of something we were kind of working towards versus you coming. And it was a wonderful thing. So World Mosaic is our elementary curriculum. And a lot of our Art Class Curator fans will be really happy about that, because most of the membership is geared more towards middle and high school. So elementary is not one we necessarily have a lot for. So we are really excited to create that. And it is a full curriculum, K through 5, every single lesson you need for every single grade for the whole year. It's 42 total units. Each grade has, it's an art around the world theme. So we have 7 continents represented, 7 parts of the world represented every year. We have, North America, South America, Asia, Europe, all of those. But then we added in Middle East, because sometimes Middle East gets lost in the shuffle when it comes to Asia and Africa. Culturally, they're kind of in the middle. So we gave them their own spot as well. And so throughout the year, every grade visits one of those places with their lessons. And then each unit has one sort of main anchor artwork that it's tied to. So, art from that area. And they are kind of across times and cultures, a lot of variety of different media and art. And then there's a lot of, our star stuff at Art Class Curators, the discussion about art, the activities, writing a poem about the art, really connecting with it. So we've got that really strongly in there, which is, I think, what sets us apart from other curriculum providers, is a lot of them focus on the making. So, but we do have the making too. We have a project that goes along with each unit, and they're varied And we have, every grade has all the media represented. So there's going to be sculpture, there's going to be collage, there's going to be fiber arts, there's going to be painting, we have everything represented in every year as well. And then, the projects are not copycat. So it's not like we're looking at a rug from Persian rug and then we're just making an exact replica of that, but we're learning about the radial balance in the rug and then creating a radial balance design. And so it's not really copycat lessons, but they're influenced by the art and then they're influenced by the media, by the elements, principles in it. So there are a lot of variety and different types of projects as well.
I love that on so many levels. First of all, it incorporates social studies and social and emotional learning. Obviously, foundations in art and art, basics of art. There's some literacy involved in that. The hands-on is important, but we do know that in the world that we live in right now, sometimes that's not available for students at home. The choice base that you're not replicating something might give them an opportunity to think creatively and say, what do I have in my house that could create this or create a pattern like this or something like that as well. But NASCO will be providing some kits for classrooms that could be used as well. So I like that it can be this all encompassing total package. And yet, if you need the virtual and the lessons to stand alone, that works as well. So also a high school that is called Perspectives, a little bit different and set up a little bit different. Tell us about that.
Yes, Perspectives is really exciting. We love it. So it's an Art 1 course, and it is based on themes. So we have, a theme of identity, community, what are the other things? Mark making. There's all sorts of different themes. And we just recently split it into 2 different courses. So I'm trying to remember what was in the first course, what first was all in the second course. But so it's based on themes. And again, each unit has an anchor artwork there's 2 anchor artworks for each unit that are related to that theme. And then you do a lot of really engaging stuff with the artwork. There's a lot more contemporary art in the Perspectives course than there is in the Mosaic course. And a lot of, things you wouldn't think of. This isn't like you're studying Van Goghs and Da Vinci's and, this is we've got, a community quilter, Edgenetta Williams, who's in the curriculum. We have Bu Hua, Chinese digital artist. We have all sorts of different artists from around the world represented in the curriculum. And then the projects are very open-ended, but they're also, we provided sort of 2 tracks. So there's one that's a more structured art project. And then there's, on every lesson, here's what you can do if you want it to be more choice-based. So here's a more choice-based option that just allows for those teachers who want even more freedom in the classroom around the project. So we have both in there. And then the structured projects are structured, but they are still open for a lot of personal student voice in there too.
It's super exciting. And our chit chat wasn't designed to, unveil the program. We will have a launch and give everybody all the tools and knowledge that they need to make a good choice as to whether it's going to fit for them. You're going to love it. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about that, and especially from your perspective. Art Class Curator has done all the work in terms of the partnering with contemporary artists, and that I find to be brilliant and just innovative. Is it tricky getting partnerships?
It has not been as tricky as I once thought. When I first started, I avoided contemporary, not because I didn't want to, but because, there's all the image permission rights and there's all the, there's just this whole layer of complication that it adds. But I would say, 9.9 times out of 10, the artist is like, yes, that's amazing. Let's do it. You know, they want to be included. They love the idea of their artwork being in schools and talked about and explored. We've really only ever had one no from any artist. So, I mean, that's pretty good. We get some that just don't get our emails, which, you know, that happens. But yeah, and they've been genuinely very excited to be a part of it.
Neat.
Yeah.
Do you ever, like, do classrooms ever give feedback to the artist? Is there feedback that happens from that side of things?
You know, we have
I didn't know if it went that far or not.
I would love that. We try to get our members and people engaging on our curriculums to send their experiences in. They don't do it as much as I hope. I would love them to do that more, to share it with the artists.
It's funny because my brain thinks about, like, always those connecting things, just because I see it happening in the art teacher world all the time. So maybe that's something in terms of, like, you and I could see if we could maybe even get one of the artists to do one of these little interviews with us, and that could be fun throughout the year for maybe our 2021 New Year's resolution, like, to get a couple of those done. Who knows? We'll see. No promises. Let's just end with what is a piece of advice that you would give an art educator right now?
Oh, now is just the time for our teachers. They're so stressed. I think my normal advice would be to, you know, try talking about art with kids, put some art up. I think that still is my advice, because I think that right now our kids are really struggling emotionally. We are struggling emotionally. We are all so tired. I mean, my daughter last night was just melting down about how she misses 5th grade. She's in the middle of 6th grade, but it's all been remote. So she just misses, like, normal life. And so it's like, but I do think that looking at art and talking about art gives you a place to talk about your feelings, gives you a place to process. And so I would say, if you're not looking at art and talking about art with kids, that you should give it a try, see how it goes, and pick something that's really fun, really engaging, or, you know, don't pick a really boring work of art, pick something exciting, and then just see how it goes. And it will add some joy to your teaching, when right now there's not a whole lot of joy. So
I think you said it best right at the beginning of the interview, when you talked about, like, the spirit of human connection. And even to witness that, as opposed to in person, is good for us. And so I know that just seeing you on screen today is delightful and makes me feel good, and will set the stage for my day today. So yes, I think that piece of advice is fantastic. This might not be the end of our interviews. We might do one in, you know, the first quarter of next year. Who knows? But I know for sure you will be back to do some training with and some introduction with me for some of our Maker Mondays in January and February. I can't thank you enough for partnering with us, for all the work that you do with Art Class Curator and with teachers. You're making connections out there, and you are changing these students' lives and these teachers' lives and helping them do what they do. You are a world changer, and I'm so grateful to have you here today. Thank you so much, Cindy.